AEW may have just had their best pay-per-view ever, and they are winning over a ton of wrestling fans. Welcome back, everybody, to Screw Script. I'm your host, as always, Maverick here. Thanks for joining me this Monday, Memorial Day. Thank you to any of you listening that may have served. Last night proved that AEW is where the best wrestle. AEW puts on the best pro wrestling pay-per-views anywhere, and it shows that more and more people are leaving TKO-driven WWE and turning towards AEW, and it is wonderful to see. Before I even get into covering the spectacular show that we saw last night in Double or Nothing, here's some proof in that, right up there, that claim that I just had. Look at that list, and this is just some of many that I was able to find of people saying, hey, this is my first AEW show. Wow, what an incredible show. Look at those comments. You can pause and read all of them if you'd like. First AEW show, 10 out of 10 show. First time at an AEW show. I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna watch this shit now. And it just continues. I screen grabbed a post on Instagram immediately after a spot from Swerve Strickland match. Look at this. This top comment really made a lot of people laugh. The spot was great, but what would have been better if there was a giant Slim Jim ad that covered the whole screen? So far, this has been better than WrestleMania. AEW Double or Nothing completely kicked all of WWE's pay-per-views in the ass 100 times.
Overkill.
It left welts. It was so apparent how much better AEW pay-per-views are for a while now for me. But after last night's masterclass of a pay-per-view, and I'll show you the cage match ratings here in a second, I have never seen such an exodus of WWE fans saying and openly admitting to them watching AEW for the first time and saying that they're going to continue to watch it and not watch WWE anymore. Do the research yourself. If you're going to come in here and complain that I'm spewing a bunch of bullshit, it's not. Just go and search socials. It is everywhere. Even that clown from New York said it was probably, he just said it was the best pay-per-view of the year. Flat out. That means he liked it more than anything that TKO WWE has done and the other shows so far by AEW, and this was, in fact, their best pay-per-view of the year. It was the best pro wrestling pay-per-view of the year, and honestly, I think it's a top 5 AEW pay-per-view of all time. It's up there with the first Wembley show. It's up there with All In Texas last summer. It might be third behind those two. That's how damn good it was. I mean, it kicked off with Mick Foley with the official All Elite image right there. He's got his own Mick Foley is All Elite graphic. That was great to see. The pre-show was even fun to watch. I mean, he comes out, cuts a promo, MJF comes out, talks shit with him, Darby Allin comes out, they start a tussle. MJF kicked him in the nuts at one point. Mick Foley gave Darby Allin a huge confidence boost promo in front of 15,000 plus fans. He had a funny one-liner against MJF saying, I noticed your hair is wavy and it's going to be waving goodbye tonight. You open up the show with one of the best tag team matches of the year, hands down. One of the best AEW tag team matches of all time, top 10 easily, where we saw Cage and Cope beat FTR. I saw this coming, but who cares? A lot of people did. Who cares? It was a once-in-a-lifetime thing you're going to see in AEW because it's probably the one and only time Cage and Cope will hold tag titles together. I don't feel like this run is going to be particularly long. They could lose it as soon as All In Wembley. Maybe they hold it until this fall, but it likely is their only title run as a team. And so I soaked it in as much as I could. It was a fantastic fucking match from start to finish. I think it went like near 20 minutes. Beautiful way to open up the show. And let me say something before I go on further. That crowd last night, I wish they were the crowd every night. They were one of the best crowds I've ever seen, ever heard. That Louis Armstrong arena, really, really nice looking. I hope they go back there for more and more shows. Everything about the show, the match quality, the crowd, the arena, the atmosphere, everything was damn near perfect. For cans of whoop ass, if you're new here, I do a rating system of 1 to 6 cans of whoop ass, 6 being a perfect pack, a perfect match. And you know what? This match right here, again, as perfect as a tag team match can get, and again, for the legacy of Cage and Cope, this is getting a perfect 6 out of 6. And I ain't slowing down there, because the next match was also, saying it right now, perfect 6 out of 6. It was one of the best singles titles matches in AEW history. Takeshita and Okada blew the fucking roof off that place. They had great spots, great near falls, superb finish. Kyle Fletcher returned, and they swerved me. I really thought that he was siding with Takeshita. Then he clotheslines him, and we see Fletcher pick Okada, so I guess it's going to be Proto-Okada. And we're going to see Fletcher and Takeshita probably feud coming up. That's going to be a fucking banger of a feud. I'm so excited for that. The only match on the entire card that was kind of just okay, and that's in AEW standards. An okay AEW match is better than 95% of superb WWE matches by their metric, was Athena versus Mina. Athena coming on top. I thought that was very predictable. Still a fine match, but I just wanted to glance over that there because that was the only match on the whole card that I felt like was just decent. Everything else was flawless, nearly flawless. Moxley and Kyle O'Reilly had an incredible technical match. Very, very different. AEW Double or Nothing last night had something for everybody. It had a technical match. It had a great title match between Takeshi and Okada and their style of wrestling. You had the Stadium Stampede was fucking nuts. All kinds of flavors for everybody. It's like walking into a Ben & Jerry's ice cream shop and you got 32 different flavors of wrestling. That's AEW for you. It's not the same vanilla, boring shit that you get in WWE. Moxley retains against Kyle O'Reilly in a superb Continental Championship match. Then you had the back-to-back Owen matches. Ospreay besting Samoa Joe. Incredible match, incredible storytelling, long-term storytelling with Ospreay. It really feels like it's going to be him and Swerve because the match after that, I think the better one of the two, Swerve versus Bandito. And I was trying to pick a Maverick moment for this card, but the whole damn thing, the whole show is a Maverick moment. I couldn't pick one in particular, but that house call off of Bandito's shoulders was one of the most memorable spots of the night. Here it is. And And like I said, Swerve comes out on top. It really seems like it's going to be Ospreay and Swerve. Sometimes predictable is still the best outcome because if it ends up being those two for the winner of the Owen, that is going to be an insanely good match. Tekla retains in that women's fatal four-way match. Really, really good women's match. Honestly, one of the best women's titles matches that they've had since Toni Storm defending her title when she had it. I really do miss her, but they are doing a fantastic job of filling that void. Tekla carrying the women's division on her back right now as champ, retains in a very, very well done women's match. Then you had the craziness, like I said, of the Stadium Stampede, the winners being Jericho, Hurt Syndicate, and the Elite. A lot of fun spots. You saw that indie wrestler, Tommy Invincible, I believe his name is, backstage in catering. That was really, really funny. The spot where the Bucks, they super kicked Clark Connors. He falls, goes up the escalator, and they ended up running around to the top and then kicking him to fall back down it. That was pure comedy gold. The whole match was fun from start to finish. I'm glad they only do them once in a while because it can be a little bit too much if they had done them, once a year, every year. I think this is only the third or fourth ever in the 7 years that AEW's been around. So I think it's nice that it's, again, not done too often. But yes, Jericho, the Hurt Syndicate, and the Elite come out on top. I'm curious where Jericho goes from here because I'm assuming this probably ends his feud with Ricochet. And I want to see what happens with Jack Perry in the tournament. I feel like he's going to beat Mark Davis in the Owen. I want the Hurt Syndicate. They might be the team to actually take the titles off Cage and Cope in a couple of months to regain those. What do you think happens with Omega? Where does Jericho go from this? A lot of questions there, but really good match. And then that main event, MJF and Darby Allin. It was my second favorite match of the night. Number one being Takeshita and Okada. It was superb. And if you're wondering, hey, why haven't you been rating all of the matches since the first one? Well, that's because every single match besides 2 were a 5 out of 6 cans of whip ass. Takeshi and Okada, 6 out of 6. FTR, Cage and Cope, 6 out of 6. The only lone 4 out of 6 goes to that Athena and Mina match, and it was still pretty good. That's why I waited to tell you guys, because this was probably AEW's most consistent pay-per-view with really, really good matches. I still think I'm going to slightly put it behind All in Texas and the first ever Wembley show, because I think those 2 shows had 2 much bigger moments that was just bigger and grander than what we saw last night. But that's really the only thing that edges it out over this pay-per-view. I think as I'm recording this and thinking about it, this is probably my 3rd favorite AEW pay-per-view ever. MJF regains his Triple B. Darby Allin, here's where things get interesting too. He was getting stretchered out because, of course, he went through a fucking, 35 days as champ only, barely over a month, and he defended it. That was his 7th title match before he lost. He's banged up. And then we saw Kevin Knight come out to save him because MJF was going to attack him. And then Kevin Knight turns heel by hitting his UFO splash from the top turnbuckle outside of the ring onto Darby on the stretcher. It left the crowd speechless, and that is one great way to end the show. Not only do you get MJF back on top, and he draws them a ton of views and money, but you have Kevin Knight, who I think is really damn good on the mic, and I think he's going to have a really good heel run. I think his heel promos are going to be off the top. It's going to be incredible for Kevin Knight. And lastly on this video, no DDT segment, because this is mainly just talking about how great Double or Nothing was, but some interesting thing that Tony Khan said in the post-media scrum, if any of you watched it, he confirms that My AEW streaming services plan to become a hub for pro wrestling companies around the world. With the addition of QT Marshall's One Fall Wrestling, Tony Khan says he is looking to help platform more independent promotions on My AEW streaming app. We'll probably see MLW. I can see them working with that. I think it would be great if they can have a partnership with MLP up in Canada. It's beautiful. Tony Khan is gifting us the best pro wrestling service possible. I think this is going to be light years ahead, better than the WWE Network ever was. Like I predicted in a video like a couple months ago, I said within a year this is going to take off better than that. Well, it's seemingly likely that's going to happen. A lot of people use My AEW. A lot of people watched the pay-per-view probably on the My AEW app. Some of you down in the comments may have. And now look at this. They're going to add all these other promotions. They're going to have a massive library of content to watch, all these fun shows. For the price that it's at is unbeatable. That's all I had on this episode of Screw the Script. Overall, this show is as perfect can get. 3rd favorite AEW pay-per-view ever. It's getting a 6 out of 6 cans of whip ass. And nothing can be exactly perfect. It's a perfect pack, in my opinion. 6 out of 6. Let me know down below your thoughts on the whole show. Let me know down below what your favorite match was. As always, this was Maverick with Screw the Script. Thanks for watching.